Immortan Joe as well, coming at you with something a little bit different today. Movie review.
I've done one of those in a minute, way behind.
Taking a look at the latest movie from the Mad Max saga, albeit without Mad Max. Prequel to George Miller's Fury Road, titled, what else? Furiosa. Buckle up. Before we head into the actual review, I think I need to give some background to the whole shebang. I grew up watching Max 1 and 2, later 3, almost daily. Gibson's Mad Max was such a cool cat in those movies. Confident, strategic in his thinking, yet he was the reluctant hero who wouldn't hesitate to jump in and save somebody when it came down to it. Wait, but that's not reluctant, is it? Look, cut a long story short,
I think we're well past that.
The point is, I've been exposed to this really quite bizarre post-apocalyptic vision of our world for quite some time. Yep, where truth is, this dystopian landscape has almost become a second home. Got a bad enough day, could almost mistake it for my home. Point is, when Fury Road came about, I was super pumped at revisiting that weird post-apocalyptic land. Albeit with a bigger budget than last time, which was a bigger budget than the one before that, which was a bigger budget than the one before that, which was a bigger budget than the one before that. You can see a pattern form. So there I am, looking up at the screen in a packed out cinema, all the chaos unfolded in glorious colour, and all I keep thinking is,
I love it. I love it.
In fact, the only problem for me was Max himself.
What?
Alright, let me explain. Tom Hardy was an inspired choice to play the lead. Heck, have you seen Warrior? Just stick Road in front of the title and call it a day. The thing is, that's not the angle he went for. I mean, he kinda did, but see, okay, people call you mad as well. There's different types of mad, isn't there?
Always two, there are.
Okay, sure about that. Let's say yes. Break it down into two. You either
Shut up! Shut up!
or you're
Crazy as a loon.
where Gibson channeled the former, Hardy's character seemed to lean more towards the latter.
What? What the f?
Which is fine, perfectly fine. He's an actor, great actor at that. He's entitled to make whatever decisions he wants to make his own mark, He didn't want to follow in Gibson's footsteps, he wanted to do his own thing. To be fair, the director wanted to do something completely different. After all, he's the one who calls the shots. Which is fine, all fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, not really. Because there was another character in that movie, another road warrior, cool, calm, collected, and it made them stand out even more, almost coming across as the film's main lead, which I can't imagine did any favours for the movie at the box office.
Not a great plan.
370 million worldwide on 180 million budget. Wait a minute, why is her face in the foreground? Nobody had a clue who Furiosa was going into that movie.
Who?
Exactly.
She wasn't even a character from one of the older movies grown up, doing their own things. It wasn't even that nostalgia angle to draw from. People turn up to see Mad Max and just didn't get enough of him.
Goddamn right.
Now, once I pulled that aside, it took me a while, I was actually able to enjoy them. Visually, it was just... And I actually liked the character of Furiosa a lot. So when rumours started to circulate she was getting her own spin-off, I was like, well, yeah, sign me up, game. But then I heard it wasn't going to be a sequel, it was going to be a prequel. I was like, what? But then I heard Anya Taylor-Joy was going to be playing her, and I was like, okay. Anya Taylor-Joy is one of those actresses who she's come a long way. She's done some pretty solid work. Yeah, she's got that look about her that's just, I don't know, otherworldly. These are big, massive, saucer-like eyes, rarely blink.
Piercing into your soul.
No, she's just a very interesting girl to look at. I don't mean that in a weird, creepy way. Artistically, creative. She's an interesting choice for the lead. So how do I think she got on? Well, that's what we're here for, right? Right. Well, let's find out. Now, at the beginning of the movie, there's a lot of character building going, a lot of world extension too. Clearly a great deal of thought has gone into how this world operates.
The excruciating minutiae
of every single daily event.
There's a painstaking attention to detail made throughout, highlighting the ongoing battle of wits between those who have and those who would kill to have. You know who you are. Anyway, follow a young Furiosa hanging out in a kind of paradise-like part of the world, hidden from regular society. So far, so idyllic. That is until she's kidnapped nearby a group of marauders. Snatch young Furiosa to take her back to their camp. Still, proof that such a place exists. They didn't count on young Furiosa's mother. Definitely couldn't count on the father because he's, well, not around, I guess. I didn't see him. At least I think it was a mother. These days,
I can never tell.
to be fair, they did make her kind of androgynous looking, so I had to look her up just to be sure. Yep. Well, good to know that it's not just video games. Some others in hot pursuit, and I'm getting shades of Linda Hamilton Terminator. Intense, man. She's intense. Even the young Furiosa gets to show she's no slouch in the survival department either. Without spoiling what happens, she winds up captured by the Marauders' leader, goes by the name of Dr. Dementus. Which is completely normal for anyone who's watched these movies. Seriously.
Trust me on this, okay?
And so they set out to try and find this paradise-like place. Along they travel, they run into one of those pale-ass mofos from the Fury Road movie. That encounter leads them back to the same location Fury Road started, leading to a tense showdown between that movie's antagonist, Immortan Joe, and Dr. Dementus. Not long until a truce is formed between the two. Fortunately, part of that truce is the trading of young Furiosa herself. Seems like Immortan Joe sees her as a prime candidate for one of his new wives.
You so freaky ass nigga!
And it's there we see Furiosa come into her own. Before long, just making her escape, disguising herself as a boy, before rejoining the ranks of her captors, working her way up the pecking order over the coming years. More time passes, she's amassed a huge amount of experience and confidence. Now I've got to tell you, this entire section of the film, from opening credits to now, is long. At least it seemed long to me. Could have done with a bit of trimming, could have done with a bit of editing, just saying. At one point I found myself questioning the idea of Anya Taylor-Joy's involvement being nothing more than an extended cameo. But to the movie's credit, it kind of made her eventual appearance. I say appearance, I mean her full reveal, that much more dynamic. Anyway, this dude turns up looking like he came for an audition for Metal Gear Solid. It's like Immortan Joe's hired this guy to drive this mega tank from one location to another. You know the drill.
Bring back gasoline from Cashtown and bullets from the bullet farm.
Some of Immortan Joe's men sent along as back, including this guy's Furiosa. Before you can say,
I have a very bad feeling about this.
Some desert bandits all over their ass. And it's here during the kerfuffle, Furiosa's disguise finally, quite literally, becomes unraveled. Do you know what? It's a very cool moment. I don't know if it's the long wait or what, but it works.
Sure, I like that. Yeah, why not?
Dude's like, what in the world?
Who's this chica?
Then she proceeded to whoop some bandit ass, and I was like, okay, now the movie's finally starting. I know, it's just cool seeing her fighting side by side with this guy she just met, like in total silence. Like, I don't know, telepathy or something. No words spoken. No words, just yelling amidst all the carnage.
You one crazy ass.
Anywho, before long the threat's been neutralized, it's just them two left. Solid Snake and Furiosa. An easy alliance is formed between them, and she gets to reinvent herself again, heading back to Smoking Joe's as his partner, Wheelman. That's all I'm going to be covering right now in terms of the story, because it's really where the movie begins, technically, kind of. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy did some solid work. Showing a spectrum of emotions, yes, including vulnerability. Both actresses did I felt, pretty good job. I mean, sure, she lacks the experience the award-winning Charlize Theron was able to bring to the role, but she does her best. It's got this super intensity going on with the action scene. Again, it's the eyes. It's always about those eyes. By the end of the movie, we do get a decent look into how she became who she is and why. There are some moments that stretch believability that I thought, come on now, really. The whole arm thing, yeah, that was, did she really rip the rest of it off herself?
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
The whole, bionic arm thing, creating it herself, attaching it herself, all the tendons and all that. With one arm, like she did all that with one arm. Come on, man. There's no setup for that either. Fine, she had a hand building, constructing the super rig that they all were building. It wasn't like she was an integral part to that. At least they didn't show it. It could easily been given to one of Smoking Joe's surgeons. That was established. That was established in the last movie. Either way, I think she turns in a fine performance. Good job.
Good job.
Yeah, remember the two mads I told you about? She's definitely driven by rage. Now, somebody told me Chris Hemswoth was in this movie. Man, I waited 2 hours plus to see that mofo turn up. I'm still waiting. You tell him. You tell him when you see him that the point I'm making is I really dug Chris Hemsworth's role in this. I mean, this is as far from Thor as he could get. Far from Chris Hemsworth when I heard about the guy. His cadence, subtle movement, gestures. I mean, he went all out to really flesh this character out as much as he could. Many layers. Even hints of his own tragic past has led him to be the person he is. Though that ultimately was his decision. All in all, I think post-Marvel, Chris Hemsworth's going to be fine. Marvel, on the other hand, I'm not so sure. To be honest, that's all performances that really stood out to me. So yeah, overall I thought the movie was very enjoyable, had some great moments, lots of cool nods to the earlier movies, but I think it was too long. Just had too many long, lengthy periods of time where it just seemed like everything was on the screen. Like this was a director's cut before seeing the original theatrical cut. Even for a fan of this world like me, at the time of shooting this video, a budget of reportedly 168 million, film sitting at 114.9 million. As you can imagine, isn't great. Now, it wasn't the odd woke elements in the movie that destroyed this movie's box office dream. No. To be honest, it wasn't that much. Nope. I mean, some of the marketing didn't help. But hey, to be honest, it really shoots down to what came before. Looking at you, Hollywood.
Explain yourself.
All in good time. What did cross my mind? This is the guy that would have given us a Justice League movie. Justice Mortal. Justice, it was called. Man, I'm telling you, we were robbed. We, the audience, were robbed. I mean, can you imagine just how good that would have been? Man. Anywho, before I give my take regarding why it flopped, let's have a look at this rather interesting article from ScreenRants. 10 reasons Furiosa underperformed at the box office despite its 90% Rotten Tomatoes score. Should be interesting. Number 10. The Mad Max franchise has never been a truly huge box office draw.
Interesting statement. Let's have a look.
The original Mad Max budgeted at a measly $350,000 US. Box office takings $100 million. Set the Guinness record for the most profitable film ever. At least at that time anyway. Wow. Mad Max 2 budget $4.5 million. Box office $36 million. Mad Max 3 Beyond Thunderdome budget $12 million US. Box office $36 million. The aforementioned Fury Road budget at $180 million. Box office total $370 million. Now whilst I admit it wasn't typical Star Wars box office juggernaut type thing, definitely a bigger number coming out of those productions than there were going in. Catch my meaning. Number 9. Movie prequels often underperform at the box office. And look, there's a picture of a Solo story. That's funny. Seen better days, huh? Now the article cites Star Wars prequels and the Hunger Games prequel as key examples before going on to counter its own argument, conceding that Monsters University outgrossed its predecessor. And the Hobbit movies did pretty good too. Interesting quote at the bottom though. There are a lot more prequels that bomb than succeed. They're usually not stories that need to be told. Surely they're not talking about Furiosa, are they? Number 7. Mad Max Fury Road came out 9 years ago. Well, there was a 30-year-old gap between Fury Road and the movie before that. What point are you trying to make? Number 6. Furiosa stars aren't necessarily a box office draw.
I give it to you. You got me there. Right. So, maybe.
Number 5. Furiosa is a kind of movie that relies on good word of mouth. Are they all? I mean, the film's friggin' 90% on both critics and users. What could you want? Pretty sure there's enough people out there spreading good word of mouth. Number 4. Furiosa had to compete with Garfield.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Now I get the Garfield movie eventually went on to whoop Furiosa's ass. You'd be lying if you said you entered this year expecting that to happen. Number 3. Audiences know Furiosa probably won't take that long to release on video on demand. I'll give you that one, up to a point. I mean, these 3 movies had the same issue and that was last year. They did just fine. Better than fine. Number 2. Popularity of Furiosa was based more on Charlize Theron's performance than the actual character. That being the case, why in the blazes would you greenlight a movie starring an entirely different actress in the role then? They could have done a sequel featuring Charlize instead of a prequel that didn't. Number 1. Furiosa's box office struggles are bigger than just the Mad Max prequel. Yes they are. They affect the whole damn Hollywood studio system. I've been churning out so much crap over the years. People have become desensitized to the idea of going to the cinema because they don't know what they're gonna get. It's like you're asking us to play Russian roulette but with our hard-earned money. Nah, I'm good, thanks. Too many crappy, badly done girl boss stories. Too many badly done stories, period. Nah, it doesn't matter if the movie's good or crap. Both are gonna get shunned by the audience. You taught them to do that. Time's running out, Hollywood. I'm intrigued to know what you're gonna do about it. I mean, do you really want to go toe-to-toe with the people effectively paying your wages? My advice, the DIE.